I go to bed and I fall asleep within about 20 minutes maximum, probably around 10 minutes normally. And on top of that, I have a very long, at least like an 8.5 hour time of sleeping before I wake up in the morning. And because of that, I wake up feeling energized, gassed up, and ready for the day. My weights in the gym, they've been going up really consistently. In school, I feel like I can focus better and I retain information a lot better. So when I'm learning it, it's actually staying in my mind. And all of these things are because I've been sleeping better and getting good quality sleep. And you can do the same thing with the 5 tips that I'm going to talk about in this video. I've done a lot of research into it, and I think these are the most high yield tactics you can implement into your life if you want to have a good, high quality sleep every night. So the first thing you need to do is actually fix your sleep schedule. And let me explain why this is so important. So I go to bed at around 10 o'clock every single day. And because of this, at around half nine or around half nine, I get really, really sleepy every day. I get really drowsy and I feel like I can just fall into bed and go to sleep. And that's because my body is ready to fall asleep at around 10 each day. And that is because your body has a circadian clock within it. And that basically means like a 24-hour cycle your body goes through every single day. And because of that, you seem to always get hungry at the same times, you seem to get sleepy at the same times, and your sleep schedule and your eating schedule, those kind of anchor this clock into place. And that's why if you take 3 days of just painfully trying to wake up early every single day or go to sleep at a certain time every single day, eventually your body will begin to adapt and adjust to that new sleep schedule. And it does take 3 days of at least a bit of pain if you have a really fucked up sleep schedule. If you're sleeping at 2 a.m. or something and you want to try and sleep at 11 p.m., it's going to be quite hard to implement that straight away. I found it personally easier to just force myself to wake up earlier rather than sleep later, or sleep earlier, sorry. And that's because if you wake up earlier, you'll just be more tired later and you can sleep when you want to. Tip number 2 is to reduce your blue light exposure around 2 hours before you go to bed. And what blue light is literally just light that is the color blue. It's very potent in sunlight, but it's even more potent in your screens. So your computer screen, your phone screen, your iPad, anything that's on its normal settings on brightness, that is blue light coming into your eyes. And what blue light does is it stimulates you to be awake. It puts you in a state of wakefulness. It releases a bit of adrenaline, a bit of dopamine, all of that. And it suppresses hormones like melatonin and other neurotransmitters like adenosine, and those are the hormones you need to actually be working in order for you to fall asleep. And if you're blocking those at night, you're just not going to feel sleepy, which is why I'd really recommend to turn on your blue light filters, or maybe make it like a scheduled thing. So all of my screens go kind of orangey at about 7 p.m. every day. And honestly, with that, my sleep has gotten so much better because I'm not getting stimulated to be awake and alert late in the day when I am actually trying to sleep. So I think every phone and computer's got a setting on it to make it more warmer or stuff like that. And try and implement that later in the day, and you'll find that you fall asleep a lot easier. So tip number 3 is that you need to cool down. And this literally means your body temperature needs to be colder going into bed or when you're sleeping in order to have a restful night. And you'll find on those hot summer days where it's stiflingly hot and it's stuffy, you are struggling to fall asleep. And while you're sleeping, you're tossing and turning, you wake up in the night, and that's because your body's not comfortable, it's too hot. So we're trying to stay colder in bed, and the easiest way to implement that is by taking a hot shower an hour and a half before you go to bed. Definitely not a cold shower, because taking a hot shower will increase your skin temperature for a while, but your body's natural cooling process will get that temperature and it will drop it below the threshold you need in order to fall asleep. And a cold shower has the opposite effect. It will increase your temperature and you'll find it harder to sleep. So try and take a hot shower if you can. Other methods are to try and have a cooler room. So if you have an AC unit, but a lot of people don't have those, so probably more viable is just a fan in your room. I know now it's like September, so it's pretty cold, so it's not as much of a problem. But try and stay cool going into bed and overnight. So tip number 3, honestly, it's a bit weird, but it gave me the best results. The first night I used it, I felt better, more energized the next day, and that was by taping my mouth shut overnight. And the reason I did that was to encourage nasal breathing overnight. And what that does is it forces you to breathe through your nose, which means you naturally do take longer, deeper breaths. It heats up the air, so it's better for you in some other way. But the main thing is you take those longer, deeper breaths. You get like free mewing time, so your jawline will get better as well. But the main thing is it makes you calmer and more relaxed. It activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is more of that like rest and digest, as opposed to fight or flight when you're kind of breathing short, fragmented breaths through your mouth. So all the time, just try and breathe through your nose. But especially when I started forcing myself to do it overnight by like literally taping my lips shut, it really helped. And the one I have is, it seems a bit exaggerated, covering your whole mouth, but other people do just use like a very simple little strip of tape, because that does actually hold your mouth shut, give it enough force to close it. But even the one that I have, it's really breathable. So if I do need to, I can just breathe through the tape because it's super thin. So quick tip with the nasal breathing: if you normally have a very stuffy and blocked nose and you struggle to, the way to actually implement and start freeing up your nose, unblocking your nose, is going to be by literally forcing yourself to breathe through your nose. So what that means is just take a very deep breath through your nose or through your mouth, but exhale for as long as you can through your nose. So you can be like, and you'll find that because your nose is so blocked, it'll take a long time for the air to get out because there's so much stuff like blocking it. But slowly and slowly, that'll open up more and more, and you can start inhaling and exhaling through your nose, and then just supplementing that by breathing whatever's necessary through your mouth. So you'll find that after like 10 seconds of trying to exhale through your nose, you have to go like, you have to get the air out of your mouth. But over time, you're going to be able to unlock more of like your nasal breathing, because it's a very weird thing in our brains. It's only going to allow you to breathe through your nose as much as you let it. So do try and actually implement breathing through your nose more often, and you will be able to unlock more of that nasal breathing, which is really helpful for your sleep, for your general life. And I'll make another video about that, talk about it later. And this final tip is one of those things that you don't really think about too much, but once you start addressing it, it's going to make such a big impact. And that for me was to reduce the external stimulation when I was in bed. So obviously you shouldn't be like scrolling on your phone, because that's literally going to make you like awake, because it releases dopamine, which releases adrenaline, which keeps you awake. But if you're in bed lying there and asleep, what really helped me was getting earplugs. So I've got like a box of them right here. I've kind of almost through it now. But having earplugs or having a blindfold when you sleep is going to really help you fall asleep, because I live next to a main road, and there's ambulances going by and there's cars going by. My parents and my brother at home, they're talking, slamming doors, stuff like that. And all of that noise, when you're trying to fall asleep, it's going to keep you awake. It's going to stimulate you, like, oh, something's happening, something's going on there. Same thing when there's like light. So I make sure my door is shut. So if someone in the corridor is pressing the light switch, it doesn't affect me. I make sure my phone is face down so the notifications don't get at me. But you do also want to get like a bit of sunlight in the morning. It's like there's a study showing that, especially in teenagers, when they had a bit of sunlight coming in the morning, they in the morning hours before like they were going to wake up, so 3 hours before, 2 hours before, they actually slept longer and for better quality. So my blinds, they kind of stay like halfway up at night, and because of that, like cars going by, the light comes in. So I might buy like blindfolds as well to help me fall asleep. So in summary, having implemented these tips into my life over a few months, my sleep was longer, It was better. I felt a lot more energized in the morning. My mood was elevated because I wasn't grumpy because I didn't sleep enough. And in the gym, my weights have been going up very consistently. On top of that, I am learning faster, I'm learning better and quicker. I can work harder because I literally have more energy because I'm recovering better. And honestly, it's changed my life completely. So please do try some of these things. You don't have to be perfect, because if you try and be perfect, you get pissed about missing something or stuff like that. I don't do all of these things every night. Some days I'll be like on the phone with my friend like at like 10 p.m. and I'll literally just turn it off and get into bed and stuff like that. Don't worry about it too much. Just try, and anything you're doing is going to make an improvement. So at least start somewhere and you see the gains.